Hi guys, I have some interesting news from Iceland today, and not only about the eruption, but also about Grindavik and what they're planning to do with Grindavik. That is a little bit surprising to me and what's going on there, so stay tuned with me. So the eruption that started on May 29th is over. The Icelandic MET Office has released a statement and they're saying that there has been no activity in the crater since June 22nd. The eruption overall did last quite long. It lasted for 24 days. Not that long like the last eruption did, but still 24 days. And it was the fifth eruption in the Sutnuka crater series since December 2023. So the lava bed that has formed, on the other hand, is the largest in terms of volume and area that it has spread. And it's probably because before this eruption started, the magma chamber was really filling up to the max, more than in the last eruption. So there was more pressure and more lava could come out. There were roughly about over 20 million cubic meters in that magma chamber, the shallow magma chamber underneath Swartsengi. And but we have to say, although no lava is coming out of that crater anymore, we still have a considerable movement of lava in the lava bed north of Sillingerfell. You see this here on the map. There's this little mountain, Sillingerfell, and the lava's flowing around it, and then north, and then along the defense walls of Swartsengi. Inside of Swartsengi, we do have the geothermal power plant, and attached that famous tourist attraction, the Blue Lagoon, where they keep swimming in the ponds despite eruptions, lava movements, anything, gas pollution, right? They keep that place open as much as they can. But, you know, it's like, no, I don't want to say it. If you cut off the head of a chicken and it still keeps running, okay, oopsie, there I said it. But that's what this volcano is doing. The lava is still coming at the defense walls, and we know it has breached the defense walls at 3 to 4 spots, and was putting significant stress on everyone involved because it was flowing towards the infrastructure of the power plant. So they were cooling it with water, they were using all their dozers to put gravel on it to stop it, to cool it down, building another part of the defense wall, working on the defense walls to increase them. So it kept them really busy. So the considerable lava movement is because there is still liquid lava underneath that lava carpet that has a solidified surface. And this is what happened. You couldn't see like a red glowing lava river come flowing towards the defense wall in the last event. It was creeping underneath. You couldn't see that. There must have been like a tube, a tunnel where this liquid lava was flowing. So you, on top of it, you saw the black solidified stuff, the lava carpet, and then it was creeping up against the defense walls. A hole opened and poof, it was flowing over it. So surprise, right? So still in the last 2 days, there has been activity in the lava tubes, in these tunnels that have crossed the defense wall in Swartsengi, north of Sillingerfell, and also in that lava bed north of the defense wall. There was movement as well, so it didn't stop coming over the wall. So they say, the Icelandic MET Office says, that we can continue to expect that movement will be noticed in the lava bed in the coming days. Wow. And they say it takes considerable time for this process to stop. So that is new, in my opinion. This wasn't such a concern in the last eruptions. We have never heard about this. So it still keeps pushing forward. It's like if you have a big freighter and you turn off the engines, that freighter keeps pushing through the water for quite a while. And I think the volcano is preparing for the next event. because about 10 days after this current eruption that has now ended started, the land underneath Swartsengi, where that shallow magma chamber is located, started to rise again. So land rise. Land rise means the magma chamber is filling up again. And the Met Office has released a new graph where you can really see what's going on. The land rise has been stable continuously since then, but what we can see, and you see it here on the curve, that's the last one where it says June, it has been slower than it was between the last events. So it's not rising that fast. So does this mean there's less magma coming in? Could that mean that from the deeper magma chamber, the flow from the deeper magma chamber into the more shallow magma chamber, is that flow reduced? Are these pipes solidifying, clogging up? We know that Thorvaldur Thorvaldsson has said that he expects, he's a professor of geology at the University of Iceland. He basically said that he thinks when this eruption ends, that has ended now, that this will be the last event in the Sutnuka crater series. And he thinks that everything will be over by the end of July or August. So I think he's still in the game, right? The land rise, if this slows down, it clogs up more, maybe it goes flat, and maybe it dies off. So who knows? The Icelandic MET Office says definitely it is an indication that we could see here a preparation of the volcano for the next event. That's why they say that they will definitely continue to monitor the area very closely and that they will conduct measurements over the next few days and weeks so that they will be better able to interpret the potential development of this ground movements. And then of course it depends on what the earthquakes will do. Will there be more earthquake swarms? That will be also an indication about what's going on. If you look at this graph, it's based on their geophysical model calculations, and it really shows the land rise of this, or the accumulation of magma and the estimated total amount of magma in the magma chamber under Swartsengi in a time frame from October 25th in 2023, and then the evolution between the events. And the red dots show the situation since May 30th, 2024. So the red line that looks like a U a little bit, that's the last development. They're saying while we know the land is still rising, it's difficult to predict when the next event will occur or when this magma accumulation will stop. Since the eruption is over now, they have made an updated hazard assessment, and they say it's the gas emissions from the crater are of course small to non-existent anymore. So they have basically zone 3 is now red, and Grindavik and Swartsengi it's orange. So we will see. The assessment, the risk assessment will be valid until July 2nd, unless there is another development. The communications director of the Civil Defense has said that this morning, that's up to date, right? So they're still working to continue to protect infrastructure from lava flow at Swartsengi, although the eruption is over. So they're still working and monitoring the lava flow. She says the response team did a good job protecting the infrastructure over the weekend. And she says, we managed to protect it with the devices that we have at hand, the dozers, the machinery, and the pumps to spray the lava with water. And she says, well, we have worked together with all these tools to somehow manage to tame it. And that's at least what the status quo is for now. So they're not like super sure that this will remain like this forever. So they're not super confident that they have everything under control. So this was a really close call. she says that the teams worked tirelessly before the weekend and during the weekend to contain that lava flow over the defense wall. And it was about 1 kilometer from the buildings of Swartsengi, from the power plant, but closer to the pipes, to the overground piping system that you can see in that picture. So it was way too close for comfort. And of course, it's good news, that's what she says, that the eruption ended, but she also confirms there's still a lot of material coming. And it's difficult for them to estimate at that location how much lava will still be flowing over and for how long. And that's why they have emergency responders still on site all the time. And there comes the question, what should they do? Should they now, while they have time before the next potential event, start increasing the defense walls? Well, they're still working on raising the defense wall at Swartsengi. And what they're planning is that they want to 3D scan the land, the lava carpet and everything with drones so that they can build a new lava flow model. And based on that model, then they want to make a decision whether they should raise the defense wall any further. There's an engineer at Grvavik, that's the company that's building these defense walls. And so she says that the new lava carpet that has formed in some areas could help, should there be the next event, to divert the new lava flow north, basically as a natural barrier to shield the Swartsengi area. I mean, that would be great. But they need this modeling, and she also says, I mean, we need to do a lot of analytical work to find out, and we're starting to do that right now. But at the same time, we have to wait and see that the current problem stops, the lava that still keeps coming over the defense wall, and then they will know how the topography of this area is. They have been working on the defense walls already before it started flooding the area earlier this June. It has flooded it twice. So they say it is under consideration whether it should be raised more to protect against further eruptions at the Sutnuka crater series. But, you know, the flow needs to stop. But what they all are saying, the defense walls are working well, but they don't know for how much longer, how many more of these events they can withstand. And now let's talk about Grindavik in that context, because there's news from Grindavik. So they're basically talking about keeping the town running, keeping the town's administration running, and build a thriving community in Grindavik again. So I'm always confused when I hear that, because I thought people are moving out, they sold their homes to the government in that government buyout plan. So which is it? So it seems they're getting more confident that they can save the town from the volcano, that they can repair the town from the volcano with all the cracks, with all the underground problems, sudden sinkholes, cracks forming, foundations tilted. I mean, there's lots of homes that need to be torn down. It's interesting, and they're saying, and the mayor of Grindavik is saying, that it will be possible basically from an administrative point of view to run the town this year and into next year, despite completely changed conditions, as we all know, since November 10th. And interesting is that still almost 3,000 people have their legal domicile in Grindavik. They're still registered there, and they're not thinking about merging that with other communities. So I'm a little bit surprised. He's saying that the municipality's activities and the entire environment have changed completely, but the town council is still focusing on rebuilding a community there. That's what Mayor Fanna Johansson says. So they want people to come back? Question mark? So he says, we've made plans with various scenarios, and there we expect to be able to run the town out this year and well into next year without having any financial setbacks. So it seems they're still having enough revenue coming in. So let's look at the situation of Grindavik in November last year, before November 10th, before that huge magma intrusion with the largest earthquake swarm happened that started all the problems. They were over 3,700 people with legal residence in Grindavik. And he says today they are almost 3,000. So I'm surprised about this. This is more than I thought. And yeah, he says that's more than a 20% decrease. But he says, however, of those who still have legal residence in the municipality, over 2,000 have registered residence in another municipality as well. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. So it seems they're still holding on to their hometown emotionally, and they don't want to probably close the doors fully. And the mayor says it's clear that this decrease in population, in addition to a complete and obvious change in all the conditions of the municipality, affects its operation, yes, significantly. And he says, of course, local government revenues will decrease in line with the fact that some people moved their legal domicile, and real estate taxes are not collected this year. Understandably, they gave people a break. And the only thing is that the commercial real estate, they have partially paid tax, and service income will also decrease, and there will be a significant reduction in the municipality's income. But on the other hand, what he says, the cost will also decrease significantly. Of course, if there's not many people living there, you don't have to conduct all these services like garbage collection, schools, whatever, right? So, and here, this is interesting. I found this number very, very large. At the Grindavik Town Council, before the problems happened, there were around 300 people working. 300. That's a lot if you only have 3,700 residents. Right now, it's expected there will be only 50 people working there by the end of the year, and almost 150 people were let go in May. That's late, right? Of course, including the entire staff of the town's schools, but like 300 people on the government's payroll out of 3,700. Who's paying for all that? Wow, right? To give you a comparison, I looked this up and it was quite stunning. In Canada, for example, the percentage of people working in government institutions is like 24%. That is huge. I mean, this tells you how controlled you are. It's 15% in the US, and here comes a number that surprised me a little bit because it feels like different, 11% in Germany. Although in Germany you feel controlled by everything, everywhere. If you don't let it's called the chimney sweep, if you don't let him into your house once a year, it's enforced. You have to let them in, right? And then they come and they give you a fine, and it's all so like that. And maybe they're very effective with a little less people, but definitely had you asked me if Canada's 24%, I'd have been very sure that Germany at least is 24% as well. But it's a high number. I find this high. And here comes the number in Iceland. In the public sector in Iceland, it is 28%. So that explains why it's that high in Grindavik, right? So let me know what you think about this, guys. It's interesting, right? So mayor is further saying there will be no school in Grindavik this winter. Those with legal domicile in Grindavik receive these services in other municipalities. And he says it clear, the local government's hopes and plans are aimed at building a thriving community in Grindavik again. Making a joke so that they all can keep their government paid jobs. No, whatever. mayor further says, of course, we don't know what the future holds. And this onslaught of nature and lava flows has been enormous. And even then, the defense walls, they have held, but it would perhaps, this system of defense walls would perhaps not withstand many more attacks of this nature. So if you know that, does it make sense to have an aim of building a thriving community there again? I don't know, maybe turn it into hotels for the lagoonies so that they can sleep there, can have a thrill there, and then go to the Blue Lagoon and have an even better thrill should there be another volcanic eruption. I don't know. So it seems that also other municipalities in Sudorns, that's the area where all these municipalities are located, like Voga, Reykjanesbær, Sudornes-Jabær, they're looking at a merger with Grindavik. But the mayor is saying Grindavik currently doesn't have a seat at the table. They're not participating in the negotiations. And I'm wondering why, because isn't that important? I mean, wouldn't that be good for Grindavik? So the mayor said that they're not at the table is primarily explained by the fact that the local government had plenty of other things to do, and under normal circumstances, the municipality would have participated in these negotiations. But they had, until 6 months ago, 300 people, so there was nobody available, even with 50 people right now. There's nobody that could do that. What's there to do so much in this town of Grindavik? Because mostly everything has been done by the civil defense and the police chief of Sudorns to coordinate that. Then they have hired some supervisor guy or consultant guy to supervise and manage operations in Grindavik and everything that's going on. Raising a question mark again. Let me know again, people. Does that raise a question mark in your hand? Mayor says there are still 3,000 residents with legal residence in Grindavik, but our society is scattered and will become more so. So this is just something that we will have to look at more closely as the time goes on. Interesting, guys. I close my video here. Check out my latest video about Grvavik. Gosh, those guys had another earthquake swarm there right now, and it's scary in my opinion because it doesn't stop. It keeps coming almost on a regular basis, once a week. But before this earthquake swarm happened, we saw an earthquake every day in the larger scale, around 1 or even over 1. So check it out. It's in the end screen, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave this video a like. Stay safe wherever you are, and I hope I see you very, very soon. If you want to see me on a regular basis and you're new here, join our group and subscribe. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.